Plant has been debated for years, with the debate heating up after the earthquake and tsunami in Japan that led to a nuclear meltdown there. Governor Cuomo has advocated for closing down the Westchester County plant entirely, saying it is too close to too many people to be safe. And Attorney General Eric Schneiderman has also questioned whether the plant meets safety regulations. The plant's owner, Entergy Corporation, says that the plant is completely safe and also believes that it provides about 25% of the electricity for New York City and Westchester County. My next guest wants to see the proof of exactly how much electricity this plant generates and also how much money the plant is making. Assemblyman Jim Brennan is joining me now from New York City to discuss the future of Indian Point and the letter that he wrote to the Public Service Commission about Entergy. Assemblyman, thanks for being here.
Good evening, Liz. I'm delighted to join you.
So before we even get to the question of whether you believe the plant could continue to exist, let's discuss what you're seeking. What you want is information, correct?
Yes, I'm concerned about the economics of the plant. I agree with Governor Cuomo that the plant should be closed, and I believe that the public and the state government are entitled to as much information as possible from the Entergy Corporation in relation to their finances and operations so that we can begin planning for the closure.
Okay, so when the plant says, and other people have backed this up, that up to 25% of New York City's electricity is generated from this particular location, do you not believe that?
That's accurate but misleading.
Okay.
A recent study by a consultant hired by the City of New York indicates that, notwithstanding the fact that 25% of the New York City Westchester zone's electricity is generated from Indian Point, the output of the plant is distributed across the entire state. The output, that 25%, feeds into the statewide wholesale commodity electricity exchange.
Into the grid,
and
into the power grid, right? That's where
into the state grid. And
okay.
So it's not specifically apportioned into the New York City standalone market.
Gotcha.
Its output is apportioned throughout the state.
So
about a fourth of the output appears to be contracted into the Con Edison system. The remaining three-fourths of the output is simply apportioned across the grid.
Okay.
So it's somewhat misleading without further disclosure of information.
So that's
one of the reasons.
What specific information would you like to see that would illuminate that particular information, this particular area? Before we get to the money, not just the money, the generation question, right?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
We need to see their sales.
Okay.
Their sales could be going to particular utilities, or they could be going into the what is called the independent system operator, which is the statewide grid.
Right.
We need to see their sales. We also don't know whether some of the power is being sold out of state to other regional grids. Such as New England or Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland.
Okay, but
we have no information about where the power is actually going.
Okay, but even just for an opposite view here, even if some percentage of that 25 was actually being generated by Indian Point but not being directly used at any given moment by New York City, is it very difficult to determine who's using what energy? From the way I understand it and the way the grid works, who's using specifically what energy generated by whom at any particular point? It all comes from a general source. So why do you need this information? How's that going to help you?
It will let us know the extent to which the price impacts. For instance, if all of the power is going into the grid, then in fact they're only about 10% of the statewide system. Also, in terms of, and we don't even know if that's the case because some of the power may be being sold out of state.
Okay, so the problem here is that the state does not require Entergy to give up all the information that you want them to, right? The Public Service
right,
Commission...
but there is a state law that says that that information should be available.
Right, but since the 1990s, the PSC has given Entergy and others a pass, or just Entergy?
Mm-hmm, that's right. Notwithstanding the fact that there is a state law that requires all electric corporations to submit the details of their revenues and expenditures to the State Utility Commission. The State Public Service Commission in the 1990s, and specifically Entergy in 2000 and 2001, granted all the wholesale power generators exemptions from their obligation to file this information with New York State Public Service Commission.
Got it. But right now, this policy is being reconsidered. Isn't that right?
Yes, as a result of some actions by my office and the State Assembly as a whole, the Public Service Commission announced back in May that it was going to review this matter.
Okay.
Which is they've started a proceeding, an administrative proceeding, to review the obligations of wholesale power generators to file annual reports with the Public Service Commission.
Okay.
There is just to give you a little more background.
Please do.
There's a distinction now between the deregulated wholesale power generators like Entergy and the traditional utilities like Con Edison. Con Edison is now considered by the Public Service Commission to be a retail distributor. Con Edison still submits the required information to the State Public Service Commission, but a company like Entergy, because it operates in the wholesale markets, no longer submits the required information, even though state law makes no distinction between wholesale and retail.
Okay. So I should also note that you're chairing the Assembly Committee on Corporations, Authorities, and Commissions. That's under
True.
the auspices of that particular position is where you're making these requests. So do you know when the PSC is going to make a decision about
No, they just began.
Okay.
And the case is just starting.
All right.
Already, the Entergy Corporation and the other and the association of the wholesale power producers, which are called the independent power producers,
right.
They have taken the position that they should not be compelled to file any information about their finances, sales, revenues, etc. In this case, they just filed some comments to that effect.
Do you believe, Assemblyman, that the state actually is going to be able to move forward, as the governor wants to, with closing Indian Point if it does not have this information? I mean, what you're doing, if I'm hearing you right, is accusing Entergy of stonewalling the state because they want to slow this whole process down while they're waiting for the federal government to make a decision about their relicensing.
I think that having the information would be extremely useful in relation to the careful planning that needs to be undertaken to close these plants down and mitigate or possibly even eliminate any possible price increases that might result. One of the most interesting things about the study recently finished by the City of New York is that under some computer simulations done by their consultant shows that the price increases related to the closure are not that significant. I think in terms of how the state and the city governments and other utilities across the state handle the situation, we might be able to nearly eliminate over time any significant price increases from taking place.
Okay. Well, since we don't have a decision yet from the Public Service Commission, I would like to ask you to come back when we do so we could make a determination when and if this information is available so you can analyze it for us. In the meantime, unfortunately, we're out.
However, just to let you know, I believe the Entergy Corporation If the State Utility Commission says that they have to file financial reports, they will sue the state and will not initially comply unless ordered to by the courts.
Well, we shall see. Obviously, this is a pretty controversial issue all around for many reasons. In the meantime, we're out of time, unfortunately, but Assemblyman Brennan, I want to thank you very much for being here.
Transparency is good. Thank you, Liz.
Indeed.